Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. So, I've just got another update on the John George case. The case that we've been following ever since John very sadly disappeared, didn't he, in Spain, in Alicante area of Spain, and very sadly was eventually found deceased. After a very long and agonising search by his family, who came over from Northern Ireland to look for him. And John, had been stabbed, shot, stripped, terrible what happened to John, and then just summarily dumped in a lemon grove in Rocales in Alicante in Spain. And the reason for this update is one. I did tell you about one of the people that was sort of involved in the case, Dan McMeekin, not the murderer, but seemed to have some knowledge about what had happened to John, was stabbed himself in Orihuela, Costa, also not far from where John was last sort of seen alive. And he was taken to hospital, seriously injured, very seriously injured, but would not apparently according to the news, he knows the name of his attacker, but he would not disclose the name. Anyway, the news is his attacker has been arrested. So an Irishman, 58 years old, arrested for the attempted murder of John George acquaintance in Spain. Honestly, sometimes I just think these Spanish prisons must be full of Irish prisoners. It's like so many people that come over to Spain and commit offences. Anyway, so Dan, the victim, was approached from behind while urinating next to an electrical transformer and was stabbed in the neck with a box cutter. So, I mean, that was proper attempted murder. You don't stab someone in the neck with a box cutter and you think they're going to survive, do you? 58 years old. I mean, it's probably an emotional sort of tie, maybe, some sort of grudge, or maybe nothing to do with the John George case. We don't know the reasons. Maybe have absolutely nothing to do with John George because this person, Dan McMeekin, has been, a bit like a loose cannon around the Orihuela Costa area, allegedly. So it could be not connected. So, this man's been arrested, 58 years old, stabbing a 29-year-old man in the neck with a box cutter. I mean, just horrific, isn't it? And they've called it the Costa Orihuela area. It's the Orihuela Costa area, but never mind. And, this is a place where people come to retire. There'll be people living there, people there on holiday with kids as well. It's a popular holiday destination with all nationalities, not just British people, Irish people, all of Europe. Everybody goes to the Orihuela Costa, including the Spanish in the summertime. Like you may find Spanish people there in July and August, but really the rest of the year there's, it's a practical, you wouldn't even know you were in Spain except for the fact of the sun. It's a place where it's mainly foreign people live. But yeah, people retire there, take their kids on holiday there. And unbeknownst to them, there are many, many crimes happening in the Orihuela Costa. It's really quite scary. Anyway, he had to undergo emergency surgery at Torrevieja University Hospital to save his life after he was stabbed in the neck with a box cutter while he was going to the toilet. And of course, he had previously posted that video online on TikTok, I think it was, or Facebook, in which he said he should have contacted the family of John George before the 37-year-old was murdered. So a 58-year-old man described as an Irish national was arrested by the Civil Guard, or the Guardia Civil, for attempted murder on June the 30th and brought before a Spanish court this week. And they say that the arrested man has previous convictions for homicide and drug dealing. So, You know, not very nice person. So the attacker inflicted a deep cut on his neck with the box cutter blade. You know, meant to kill him. When you stab someone in the neck, you know, that is, someone can bleed out so very quickly, can't they? So having interviewed the victim, officers were able to identify the suspect, although he had left his home days earlier and his whereabouts were unknown. However, a police patrol from Orihuela, Costa managed to locate the suspect in a local park on June the 30th. And after confirming the identity with the support of the Pilar de la Horadada judicial police team, he was arrested. And according to the news site, vegabacadigital.com, as the suspect was not carrying any ID, and the Spanish police sought the help of Irish authorities, who provided a fingerprint check. And it's confirmed he has a criminal record in Ireland for serious crimes, including homicide with a firearm and drug trafficking. And having been charged with attempted murder, he was brought before Orihuela Court of Instruction No. 3, which ordered his provisional release with a restraining order against the victim. So he's been released. Oh my God. McMeekin from West Belfast was attacked in the early hours of Sunday in Lasagna near Torrevieja. And despite local news reports saying there were pools of blood found at the scene, McMeekin survived the shocking incident and has been recovering in hospital. And it has also been reported in the press in Spain that the authorities have revealed that McMeekin told him he knew who had stabbed him, but that he would not be telling them. Just feels like this whole thing. I mean, I don't know if Dan was stabbed because of John George or because of something completely different. You just feel like there's going to be more tragedy, don't you? Well, there already has been. You know, getting stabbed in the neck is pretty much a tragedy, isn't it? There's so much, you just wonder, more parents are going to be left heartbroken, losing their children one way or another, adult children, because you just feel like this is not going to stop. It's going to develop into some sort of ongoing feud. So, we know, as we've said before, Dan McMeekin, he is a confessed addict. He's vulnerable due to substance abuse. He's got a series of convictions for domestic abuse against a former partner. I don't know how to put this, because to me, nobody deserves to have their neck slashed with a box cutter, unless they've done that to someone else themselves. And Dan McMeekin didn't do that, and it's pretty obvious that he did not kill John George, but he did know him well. And it's believed he was in a bar in Spain where a plan was hatched to attack the Belfast man. Why would they want to attack him? So these are all the things that I presume will come out when it comes to trial, what the motive was for killing John, or was it just a drunken night, and just things got out of hand. We don't know the full story, do we? So supporters of John and his family believe that Dan McMeekin has information relevant to the investigation. However, he's never been arrested or charged with anything. And remember, we watched that video that he did where he was upset. He appeared to be high on drugs or drinking. Well, he didn't appear to be, he was, because he was actually taking drugs on his live. He talked about the TikToker who he felt was not telling the truth about him. That was a TikToker that he trusted, who threw him under the bus a little bit by just revealing everything. He said during that video, but of course he was high as a kite, "I'm doing my best to help in so many ways. I'm guilty of not telling the family sooner. I'm vulnerable. This is breaking me. I have a heart, I do." So since then, basically, Dan's been getting into trouble all over the Orihuela Costa for various things. And then he ended up being stabbed in the neck. So the guy's been arrested, but he's released, so he's walking around. This is the Pilar Doradada police station. Remember, I did a video there. I went up there quite a while ago now. And they seem to do the thing is it's miles away from Orihuela Costa, really. But that is the head sort of police station that deals with the Orihuela Costa area. There's real problems in Orihuela Costa with policing. Anyway, so he's been arrested, he's been charged, but God knows when he'll ever get, Spanish justice just goes so slowly. I mean, I can't believe he's been released. I mean, that's a serious offence. It's not shoplifting, is it? Attacking someone, and he's free now until his court case comes up. So I don't know where Dan is, whether he's still in hospital or he's been released. But maybe there is a restraining order. But you know what? That doesn't help when someone comes and stabs you in the neck with a box cutter, does it? Sod the restraining order. It's not going to stop someone hurting someone if they really want to. And then I just wanted to show you this other article that I just found as I was researching in the Spanish news. And as far as this, I think this was in April, the Guardia Civil resolves the case of George, an investigation from Benidorm to Portugal. So they have caught the presumed accomplice and the presumed autor material, which is, the person who did it, which they're talking about Johnny Smith there, who fled to Braga after they discovered the body of the young man. Where are we? There's John, of course. Poor John and poor family of John. So, yeah, according to this article, I mean, of course, he's yet to be found guilty, Johnny Smith, but it seems like the police think he is. So at the end of 2024, John George disappeared. A Northern Irish citizen, like other young British, as others British citizens, he arrived to Alicante to have fun, to sunbathe, enjoy his life with his friends. However, destiny didn't have the same plans. It was his father who reported him missing in December after speaking to him. Fatally, 2 weeks after the statement, the Guardia Civil found... No, that's not true. That's not true, is it? Because it wasn't 2 weeks later. Was it? It wasn't 2 weeks. He was reported missing in December. They didn't find him till January. I think it was longer than 2 weeks. And then they found the body of the young man. And 5 months has resolved the case and arrested 2 people as the presumed author of the crime and his accomplice. Hasn't been easy, says here. The investigators have had to go to Benidorm, Rocales, and Vega. They've had to go from Benidorm to Rocales, from the Vega Baca to Portugal, to capture the presumed responsible people in the murder of John George. The investigation started after receiving the statement from the father, who apparently on the day 21st of December told the Guardia Civil of Javier that he had not had any contact with his son, a young man of 37 years, since Saturday the 14th of December, when he spoke to him for the last time by telephone. And according to what the agents explained, his son had come to the province of Alicante to pass a few days with friends coming from Ireland. Of course, this is where John was found, isn't it? Believing that he was in Benidorm and they couldn't find any trace of him, his father came to Spain with the intention of finding him and putting the facts in the knowledge of the Guardia Civil in this moment. The Guardia Civil started then to reconstruct what might have happened to him, and the investigation started from the moment in which the young person disappeared And disappeared from the moment that the disappeared young person arrived in Spain on the 6th of December. And they localized people that had contact with him, and they took details from witnesses. And then from the day that he contacted with his father the last time, he'd been in the company of two people, the same that became the principal suspects in his disappearance. And from that moment, the Guardia Civil realised that it was involuntary disappearance. The autopsy has revealed that his death happened on the 14th of December because of gunshots. Was the same day that the victim spoke to his father for the last time, and a week before the disappearance was declared. So after a weekend of intense work, on the morning of the 7th of January, the agents of the police found his body in, it says here, a paraje rural. So it was a finca, like a lemon grove, wasn't it? In which they had been searching for the last few days. On that same day, less than a couple of hours, scarcely a couple of hours later, they arrested one of the implicated in the murder, a man of 32 years old, living in Torrevieja and of Czech nationality, and he has been declared or attributed the part of, like, he's a cooperating witness. And then he was given his liberty. He was released on bail, basically. He not allowed to leave the country, and other things where he had to report. I think it's once every couple of weeks he's had to report. And he's been, as far as we know, he's been complying with his bail conditions. And that, of course, is Michael Malley, isn't it? In between, the Guardia Civil continued its work for looking for the other suspect, and he was always considered the actual person who did the murder. According to information recovered for the investigators, after committing the crime of killing the young Irishman, and once the families had denounced his disappearance, he left instantly. Left the country instantly, in the company of his sentimental partner, his girlfriend, and even abandoned two dogs in the home, and trying to avoid being captured. I'm just reading out what it says here. I don't know if they did abandon the dogs or whatever. I don't know. I'm just reading what the article says. So the Guardia Civil solicited then, you remember there were 3 arrest warrants issued, weren't there? A local one, a national one, and an international. Oh, that's right. A Spanish one, a European one, and an international arrest warrant. And says here, thanks to realizing that he was outside Spain, they found the suspect in Braga in Portugal. Now, whether that, I don't know if that was from some sort of tip to the family or whatever. There's lots of talk about that. But anyway, the Guardia are claiming the credit for it. And the Portuguese police arrested him and extradited him to Spain on the 3rd of April. And he's in prison without bail. Him fleeing means he didn't get any bail. 27-year-old man, Irish, and living in Orihuela, it says here. And he has many crimes, has been charged with many things in his own country. He's got a criminal record, basically. So, I just wanted to point out, so they are talking about Johnny Smythe, Johnny Smith, as if he is the killer. And of course, everyone's innocent till they're proven guilty. But according to this article, the Guardia Civil has resolved the crime. So when will the court case come up, I wonder? You know, things take a long time in Spain, unfortunately. So I don't know when the actual court case will come up. And it'd be interesting to see what happens. I hope it gives John's family some, you know, I mean, they're still having to live without John. Nothing's going to bring John back. And, you know, you can see that it's devastated that family. And, but it'll give them cold, I mean, they must have some cold comfort that at least he's in prison at the moment. And then when he's finally convicted, if he ends up being convicted, no, if he is guilty, it'll give them even more comfort, but it's still, it's cold comfort, isn't it? Because what they would like more than anything, of course, is to have John's smiling face back again. Okay, so I thought I'd just give you another update. I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, as always, may your God go with you. Bye.